I would really start with the basic running of the home. What goes into a day. Shopping, cooking, cleaning, they're all really necessary skills.
G'day, I'm Debra Caldow. Welcome to the Red Giraffe Solutions Expanding Worlds podcast, where we aim to support you as you help your young person with additional needs plan for their future, a future where they're safe, secure, and live a rewarding and fulfilling life. From around the world, I share stories and I share solutions from people making this possible right now. I'm a parent of a young person with additional needs, so I understand the challenges. Many of the people I've interviewed on this podcast have already helped me design a better future for my daughter, and I hope that they might help you as well to imagine what's possible for your young person. This podcast is made possible by Red Giraffe Solutions, which is a project I'm proud to be part of, supporting families to build a better future for their children. We now have available at Red Giraffe Solutions an online course called Independent Cooking Made Easy. This is a new and unique approach we developed when we realised traditional cooking techniques and recipes were never going to enable our daughter to cook without some support or supervision. It's a safe, simple system that uses no more than 5 ingredients, has no weighing, cutting or chopping, and no lifting of heavy dishes. Each of the 16 recipes in the course includes a step-by-step video of our daughter making the meal, plus a visual recipe card. We developed this for our daughter to solve her challenges with cooking, and every recipe in the course she can and does genuinely cook for herself. You can find a link to the course in this episode's show notes. One of the most useful books that I've ever read is a book called Tiny Habits by B.J. Fogg, and it talks about building habits on top of each other. So instead of trying to make big changes in our life, it's more effective to habit stack, adding small changes into already established habits and building on those to create new habits. And using this approach to teach essential life skills is one of the topics discussed in this episode of the podcast with my guest Claire Wannell from Springboard. And really the practical skills that Claire is talking about don't sound that difficult to teach, but they still require a plan and a strategy so that they can become those habits that in time will allow for more independent living. So let's hear more from Claire on how to build these essential daily living skills. Claire, thank you so much for talking to me today. Can we start off by finding a little bit about you and then also what your role is?
I joined the Springboard team as a disability life skills coach. There are all sorts of services offered here at Springboard, but we form the Stepping Stones team, which focus on volunteering and employability and practical life skills. So we run sessions here at the centre for young people to increase their confidence and their independence, predominantly in all sorts of life skills.
So when we define life skills, what does that mean?
So the things that we ourselves do on a daily basis, so that can be how to run your home, that can be how to look after yourself, as in physically, mentally, how to look after your mind, how to look after your body, personal hygiene, and relationships is a class that we've got coming up. We focus on things like online safety, which is super important with our young people. They have access to a wide range of things online, which is both a blessing and a curse, isn't it? It's learning how to use it responsibly and safely. Home skills is a great one. So how to run your home, basically, or if you're not independently living, how to pitch in with family life at home. So in that one, we focus on basic house cleaning. We focus on keeping bedrooms clean and hygienic and tidy, which is always fun. We make beds, we strip bed sheets, we put a wash on, we clean the bathroom. Basic life skills, really, to live as independently as possible.
Why do we need to teach our young people this?
Life is busy, life is fast. We're working, we're dropping off at school, we're here, there and everywhere. So sometimes involving young people, however young or able they are, slows you down. And I think parents, adults, just kind of get on with it. And it's an investment, isn't it? It's an investment involving young people in, what goes on in a home. It's easier said than done, but it's such an important life skill. And if your young people are going to go off and live independently, however that may look, whether it's college, university, whether it's in supported living, whether it's just remaining at home, but being more independent in themselves, these basic life skills are crucial.
So when a young person comes to you guys, do you do some sort of assessment to see what levels they're at and what they need to be doing and what they can do and what they need some support with?
Yeah, absolutely. We do like an all about me meeting. So adults fill in an all about me form about the young person, a little bit more about them, their disabilities, basic information. Francesca and I then meet with the young person here at the centre. Just a really informal, put face to the name and things like that, have a chat about what life looks like for them. Lots of our young people go to college, but equally lots are at home and predominantly in that gap between education and work. And that is the most important group, really, that we try and catch, because between education and work, there's a lot of life going on and a lot of skills that need to be learned. We have adults and young people in for a chat to find out a bit more about them, really, what they do at home, what they don't do at home, what they'd like to do, what their interests are. We focus as much on how they work, what makes them tick, what gets them excited, because, let's face it, some of these life skills are pretty boring. But Francesca and I try really hard to make it really engaging, as fun as possible, to get young people empowered and involved as much as possible.
Which of the life skills do you find is the one that people most would come to you and wouldn't really have much of a grasp of?
Cooking is a really, really popular one. So we actually run 6 weeks of cooking with confidence, where we set a theme. So our last one was One Pot Wonders. So we did 6 amazing recipes, really simple, really fresh, and we broke down a recipe. We write it out so it's accessible, so it's got pictures and symbols. The young people follow the recipe. We cook with them, we do it alongside, so it's really engaging. We're there cooking along with them. They're learning amazing recipes, but they're also learning knife skills. They're learning food hygiene, they're learning kitchen safety. They're socialising, because we're all round a big sort of island in the kitchen, cooking together. And it's a real sociable experience whilst learning really important life skills at the same time. So when they've created their amazing dinner, we all sit and eat together. Again, another really important life skill that doesn't always happen so much because life is so busy. So to sit down and eat a meal and chat together is a really lovely thing to do.
When it comes to things like cooking, is the key there simplifying things and making them more accessible, or is it just building confidence in doing something for yourself?
I think it's a bit of both. Cooking can be complicated, but it doesn't have to. So again, breaking down some really basic staple meals into really easy to follow instructions and hone in on those really important life skills. So, knife skills is a big one. That's something that we obviously assess the level of independence the young person can have with knife skills. But the confidence from week 1 to week 6, the kind of feeling of, oh, I've never done that before, or I can't do that, to progressing it over the 6 weeks. By week 6, they're chopping onions, they're chopping veggies, they're confident using the hob, they do all the washing up. So again, it's kind of step by step as we progress in those 6 weeks. We then print all the recipes, which have lots of visual aids as well, so that the young people can take those home at the end to encourage them to keep cooking at home. Most of our last group were living at home, so just encouraging them to cook with mum and dad at home, cook for their brothers and sisters, and use those skills, keep using them.
And I'm assuming this is something that a lot of them hadn't done at home before.
Lots hadn't done at home, certainly not to that level, but the feeling that they had of being empowered, that they could cook a meal, they sat and ate a lovely bowl of something delicious that they just created from start to finish. That feels really good. It's such a great skill.
And you talked about some of the other home skills as well, things like keeping things tidy. How do you teach that?
We get together in a group and we first talk about what we already do, what we're already aware of. We focus on the things that we would use to clean the house. What would we need? What would we use it for? So different kinds of products, and just really gauge the awareness that the young person has already about those skills. And then we go off and we actually, around the centre, we practice them. So 2 went off and did vacuuming, 2 went off and cleaned windows. So with our guidance, but then practically doing the skills. We've got a bedroom set up here, which is fantastic. There were clothes all over the bedroom, so they had to tidy them up and hang them up. Anyone that's got teenagers knows that that's pretty normal, but what a skill to be able to put your own clothes back in the wardrobe. We stripped the bed, we put a wash on, that kind of thing. So we're practically doing the skills with the young people, giving them tips along the way, and just watching them do it, which is fantastic because we can scoop up anybody that really is struggling with a particular task, and we can support them until they do know how to do it and they can do it themselves. We've got a real mix of skills in the group that we're currently running, and we adapt the activities depending on the young person's ability. So this week we're focusing on money management and budgeting. We've got 2 young people that are much more able and worldly wise and do use money. So the activity is slightly more challenging. They're having to add things up themselves and budget and create a shopping list. And for the 2 young people that are slightly less able and worldly wise, they're much younger, we have adapted the activities to make them more visual, and we will do that with them so that they can plan their meal and their shopping list, but in a slightly different way.
When it comes to relationships, what are some of the things there that you teach young people, and how do you do that?
Yeah, so relationships we tie in with personal hygiene. So again, we adapt it to how able and how aware the young person is and what's appropriate. Relationships, we just touch on what kind of relationships you have as an individual. So colleagues that you work with, people that you go to college with, people that you might see in the library every Thursday. The difference between a really good friendship and an acquaintance.
For parents and carers trying to teach these skills, where should they start? What's an easy win, if that's a way of putting it?
There's lots of easy wins to be had. There's lots of things that young people can be involved with at home. I would really start with the basic running of the home. What goes into a day. Shopping, cooking, cleaning, they're all really necessary skills. They're things that we're doing day in, day out, most of us without realising. So I think giving small tasks and small responsibilities to our young people and empowering them. I mean, for me, the 2 really important ones are keeping your space clean and tidy. So whether that's a bedroom or a workspace, but also for me personally, the cooking. I cook a lot with my own children and I'm reaping the rewards now. That's the one I enjoy teaching the most because it has the biggest impact. To be able to prepare a meal for yourself, whatever that might look like, is such an important skill and an empowering thing. So if it's a sandwich, if it's making your packed lunches, that's fine. If it's cooking a meal for your whole family on a Friday night, amazing. Whatever level that might be at. For somebody that might need a lot more assistance and a lot more support, just being alongside you in the kitchen, observing, passing things, watching. You don't have to go straight in there and be chopping up, loads of vegetables and meat. You can scaffold those skills and progress up to different things. Work with them. You want them to feel good about it. You don't want them to think, oh my goodness, I can't do that. We did food hygiene and kitchen safety last week, and we actually ended by making toast, which is pretty simple, pretty basic, but it involved a process of them preparing their workspace, getting their bread, finding their toppings, serving up, sitting down and eating together, and then clearing away. It was something that they could do from start to finish independently, albeit some of them with guidance and prompts, but they did it.
Can we swing back to personal hygiene? Any hints and tips you might have on that one? Because I think that's one that is often a struggle.
Absolutely. And again, anybody that has a teenager, that is a real problem. I think it's about creating healthy daily habits, small habits, breaking it down into really small, simple daily habits that you then stack up and it becomes a really positive part of their day. Habit stacking and, short wins, small wins and things that they can do. It might not be completely independently to start with, but something that you can show them and you could do together. For example, washing your face, washing your hands and cleaning your nails. They're small things that you can do on a daily basis that you can form those habits. Show them that you're also doing the same thing. It's something that you can empower them to do every day.
You speak to lots of parents and carers. You mentioned before about the fact that we're busy and that's the reason that we don't necessarily get our young people to do more around the house. What do you say to people to convince them that that's such an essential thing to be doing?
I think when you think it's very easy to do things as parents, we're all guilty of it, doing lots for our children that they could possibly do themselves. I think when you think of your young people as older people, You don't want them to be in a position where they're so reliant on you that they can't manage these things for themselves. Any sort of empowering independence that we can help our young people with is positive, right? Doing everything for them sometimes feels like the best thing and the easiest thing. And it can feel like you're looking after them by doing lots of things, which of course you are. But empowering them to be independent is the best thing that you can do for your young people.
I think sometimes it can feel overwhelming thinking about all the things that we need to do to support our young people to make sure they can live the life that they want and that we want for them as well. So it's always nice to hear practical ideas where we can really make a difference and help them build skills that will last them for a lifetime. My conversation with Claire was also a good reminder for me to make sure that I make choices that will benefit my daughter long term. Because despite my best efforts, there are still times now when I want to step in, and for her the right choice is for me to step back. I just want to say thank you for taking the time to listen, and I hope that the stories and solutions shared on here help you as you support your young person to create their future. If you know anyone who would find the ideas useful, please share the podcast with them. To support the podcast, please consider finding out more about the Independent Cooking Made Easy online course. It's a safe, simple system that works. There are links to the course in the show notes. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook. You can also connect with me on LinkedIn at Debra Caldow. I'd love to have a conversation with you on any of the topics we all care about. Bye for now.